Thank you. Alrighty, it's 1 p.m. We're coming out of recess for the morning session to consider land use items. We have one hearing today, the old Sawmill Ranch rezone. The general process is we'll ask staff to present the application. We'll ask the applicant if they have anything they'd like to add. We'll take public comment if there is any, and then we may have questions throughout, and afterwards we'll render a decision, and that might be to approve with conditions, deny, or continue if we feel that there's information we still need to make a final decision, but that's generally the process. So with that, I would accept a motion to open public hearing on the old Sawmill Ranch rezone.
Mr. Chairman, I move we open public hearing on the old Sawmill Ranch rezone, case number RZ-22-0032.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to open public hearing on this item. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye. Motion carries. We're in public hearing. Laura, I believe you're presenting, so the floor is yours.
Thank you. So I'll start the presentation for Old Sawmill Ranch rezone, case number RZ-22-0032. This is a rezoning request to rezone a 42.3 acre property, 10 acres to be rezoned from A to AR, and around 32.2 acres to be rezoned from A, agriculture, to agriculture 2, A2. The location of the property is the northeast corner of North Elbert Road and County Road 7482. The applicant representative is Andrew. He's present here today. The landowner is Brent Gale. And this application is also being reviewed concurrently with an administrative minor plat. And the minor plat is not a part of this rezoning hearing, but it will be decided administratively pending the rezoning. The process started back in 2021. The community meeting was held in 2022, March 10th, 2022. The application was formally submitted in July 22. Referral process happened last year. After that, the applicant was working with the Division of Water Resources, mainly to resolve his water supply. And then we had the Planning Commission hearing on May 16, 2023, and we are now hearing this application before the Board of County Commissioners. The noticing for this application was completed in accordance with the zoning and subdivision regulations. Here's the general location, the zoning map, and you can see that a small portion of the property is located within the floodplain, but that does not impact the rezone or the minor plat. The proposed 2 lots are deemed to be buildable. The subject property is also located half a mile from the nearest 10-acre lot and approximately 3 miles from the nearest 10-acre lot subdivision. It's called Academy East. It's also located close enough to the Boy Scouts of America and Rocky Mountain Vipassana PUDs. Here's just the air view for you guys to see the property. It's a 42.25 acre property zoned currently agricultural. Here's the proposed rezone exhibit that's being evaluated today. The applicant is proposed to rezone the lot 1, so the 10 from, like the front 10 acres from A to AR, and the back lot 2 would be rezoned to A2. So you can see the north here on this, on your left corner is pointing up, and then I twisted the image just for us to have like a bigger view of what the proposed rezone exhibit. So the north is facing left there. The access to lot 2 would come from County Road 7482 with the access and utility easement proposed up there. diverse, like multiple referral agencies reviewed this application, including DWR, the Colorado Division of Water Resources, Mountain View Electric, Assessor's Office, Public Health, Public Works. All the comments were addressed, and there are no outstanding comments. And then Article 3C4 of the Zoning Code lists 6 criteria for the commissioners to consider, and though the criteria are: A, whether the proposed rezoning conforms to and is generally consistent with the goals and policies of the Elbert County Comprehensive Plan. The proposal conforms and is generally consistent with the goals and policies of the comp plan. The community and resources topic area states that the development shall conform to state laws covering domestic water supplies. And according to the Division of Water Resources, the proposal has a sufficient water supply for the 2 lots being proposed. In addition, the natural resources topic area states that new development should minimize negative impacts to adjacent ag lands. And the proposal keeps the rezoning under the agricultural context district. The agricultural context district from the zoning regulations have 3 different zone districts: agriculture, agriculture 2, and AR, agriculture residential. So the applicant is not changing the context zone. Whether the proposed rezoning is compatible with surrounding land uses. The subject property is in a sparsely populated county area, and the closest 10-acre is half a mile away from the property. And staff believes that the proposed use of 2 single-family residences as used by right is compatible with surrounding land uses, maintaining the agricultural context of the area. Whether the proposed rezoning would adversely impact the provision of public services. Public Works reviewed this proposed rezoning, and no improvements were found to be necessary. Whether the proposed rezoning would adversely impact the environment. Public Works, Public Health, and the Division of Water Resources reviewed the application, and all comments were addressed. Therefore, staff believes that the rezoning will not adversely impact the environment. Whether the proposed rezoning would create unreasonable traffic congestion or burden existing road system. Again, this application was reviewed by Public Works Department, and no improvements were found to be necessary. Whether the proposed rezoning will not otherwise be detrimental to the health, safety, or welfare of the present or future inhabitants of Elbert County. Staff believes that the rezoning request to A2 and AR will not be detrimental to the county residents' health, safety, or welfare, as no critical concerns were identified during the review process. With that, the Planning Department recommends the board to find the following. The proposal is in general conformity with the comprehensive plan. It meets the criteria for the approval in the Elbert County zoning regulations. It is compatible with the existing and allowable land uses, and it will not result in significant impact to the health, safety, and welfare of the county residents. With that, the Planning Department made a recommendation to the Planning Commission to recommend approval for this rezoning request, and the Planning Commission recommended the Board of County Commissioners to approve the requested Old Tommy Ranch rezone RZ-22-032, subject to the following conditions. To remove the public hearing sign within 7 days of the decision, all fees shall be paid, conditions of approval met, and the rezone exhibit shall be recorded. Recordation shall happen in 180 days of approval, and the applicant must record the minor plat. With that, I conclude my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Laura. Do you have any questions for staff at this time? No? Okay. I have none. I'd invite the applicant's rep to provide any other information you may feel is necessary.
Yeah, good afternoon. My name is Andrew. Good to meet you guys. I don't have too much more. I think Laura did a very thorough presentation. Just to give context, my father-in-law lives at the Whistle Stop Ranch just east of this property, and his property line would border ours. And, you know, we look to build a house for my wife and my 3-year-old son, and we look forward to being a good member of the community. Thank you.
All righty. Do you have any questions for the applicant?
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, no problem.
I left too soon.
Any questions? Okay. I don't at this time. We're going to open for public comment, and then we may ask you back up.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you. Do we have any public comment, ma'am? Yes.
My main name is Deborah Thomas. I live just south of 7482. I was at the public meeting last year. It was very poorly attended because there was a snowstorm in action, but everyone who came was against this minor plat waiver. Currently, despite the recent local rains, Elbert County and most of Colorado and the West is in the middle of a decades-long drought. To conserve remaining water, the Denver Water Board has not been issuing agricultural water permits for years. Recently, 4 states, including California, have reduced their water draws on Colorado by 13% each due to the widespread drought. Local cities are constantly calling for water conservation. The 35-acre minimum in this area is to reduce the number of wells drawing down the underground reservoir that is not being replaced. A waiver sets a precedent, such as El Paso County with its well and septic systems on little as 4 acres within 2 miles of Elbert County's southern border. Historically, Kiowa Creek has flooded and wiped out portions of the towns of Elbert and Bennett, and floodwaters have reached Elbert Highway. I've seen 5 foot of floodwater on the portion of Kiowa Creek that runs through my property just in recent years. The FEMA floodplain map referenced at the public meeting last year was made in 2011 and therefore does not account for 12 years of climate change, which has happened and will continue to cause extreme weather, hot, dry, cold, wet, tornadoes, hailstorms, harsh winds. Putting a house, well, and septic system this close to Kiowa Creek not only depletes water resources, but the septic system can contaminate the creek if flooded, and due to the porousness of Sandy Creek bottom, even when not flooded. Any contamination opens the door to the EPA, and their fines are not negligible. Building a house where the tornado hit, where it is likely to be flooded, where it is probable to contaminate Kiowa Creek, where any disaster will also affect the entire county with insurance rate increases is not smart. And all of this is so that Mr. Gates' relatives, or Gail's relatives, don't have to drive too far to visit. I'm strongly against this waiver. And I know that nothing has changed, and this probably won't change it, but I wanted you to know that checking the boxes and paying the fees and ignoring the consequences is not okay. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Do we have any other public comment at this time? Okay. And Amanda, we didn't have anybody that wanted to be called? Or?
No.
All right, so public comment is closed. I guess between staff and applicant, would you like to respond to anything from public comment?
Well, guess the only comment I would have is that this application was reviewed by Public Health Department and by the Division of Water Resources, and they deemed the application okay.
Sir, we do have at least one question we have to ask. And
Yes,
that
sir.
would be, if approved, would you accept the conditions that were displayed, the filing of paperwork?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Any questions for the applicant?
I don't have any questions really, but 10-acre lots are quite common in that part of Elbert County. The only question that kind of raises is, are you concerned at all about Kiowa Creek?
I think that from the distance that we are, in terms, like if you can see the plat maybe, in the proposed A2 lot, if they were wanting to build in their southern corner, I think that that might be a worse option. But as you can see, my 10-acre plot, even if I built, I think it's 50 feet or 50 yards away from property line, I wouldn't be very close to that floodplain.
Now, where is the sawmill facility as it exists?
There is no sawmill. It was just named Old Sawmill Ranch, just for historical terms.
Alrighty, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Do you have any comments or closing before we ask for a vote?
Well, the only one comment here is what the citizen said, the 35-acre minimum in this area. The only thing that 35-acre minimum is the amount of acreage that you must keep to keep your agricultural zoning by state law. And you can still have agricultural zoning as you go smaller, but you have to do certain things to match it. But you don't have to go through a subdevelopment or anything like that to take a section and turn it all into 35 acres or something like that. So identifying it as a minimum, it depends on how you define that minimum. And it's very common in the county now to receive applications to divide 35-acre lots into 3 10s or 12s or whatever, or 40 acres into. So this is not atypical.
Yeah, I just did want to add as well that as a use by right for agricultural properties, 35 acres and larger, two homes on a 35-acre lot is a use by right. What's being proposed breaks it into 2 lots, but still would be 1 home per lot at a maximum. So I don't think we're, at least with the rezone, there's nothing that changes what could have been done with the entirety of the property. But do understand, I mean, that what he's asking for, I think it references a waiver here. It's not waiving any regulation. It's following a regulation for an application for a rezone. So really, I guess, well, you had mentioned this isn't really precedent setting. It's a land use process. So I guess with that, I would ask for a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve Old Sawmill Ranch rezone case number RZ-22-003, and the applicant must adhere to the conditions of approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve with the conditions of approval that were displayed and accepted by the applicant. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye. Motion carries. I'd accept a motion to close public hearing on this item.
I move we close the hearing on Resolution 23- to be determined Old Sawmill Ranch rezone case number RZ-22-0032.
Second.
Okay, a motion and a second to close public hearing on this item. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. I guess there's no further business before us today, so I would accept a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, motion and a second to adjourn. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, it's 1:20. We are adjourned. Thank you.